Most of us don't think twice about coincidences. Running into an old friend, thinking of someone just before they call you. It happens all the time. But sometimes, coincidences take a darker turn. A turn so terrifying, so unexplainable, that it feels like fate is playing a cruel joke. Imagine surviving a disaster, only to meet your end in an even more bizarre way, or ignoring a warning, only to realize, too late, that it was real. Some people believe these are just random events. Others, they swear there's something more, something unseen, something inevitable. These real-life coincidences are so chilling, they feel like scenes straight out of Final Destination, but they actually happened. And the last story? It might just make you question everything you know about fate. It was a cold day in 2002 when a 70-year-old man in Finland started his usual walk. He had lived in the small town for years, knew its streets like the back of his hand. But that day, something was different. As he crossed the road, a massive truck came out of nowhere. Too fast, too sudden. The impact was instant. He didn't stand a chance. His family was devastated. But as they tried to process their loss, something completely unbelievable happened. Just 2 hours later, at the exact same spot, another man stepped onto the road. The same blinding headlights, the same screeching tires, the same deadly impact. The townspeople couldn't believe it. But then came the real shock. This wasn't just any man. He was the twin brother of the first victim. They were identical twins, sharing the same DNA, the same features, and now the same fate. 2 deaths, 2 hours apart under identical circumstances. Was it just an accident, or did something far more mysterious pull them toward their destiny? Some disasters come without warning. But what if I told you that one of the greatest maritime tragedies in history was predicted years before it even happened? A warning so precise, so detailed, that it feels impossible to ignore, yet no one saw it coming. We all know the story of the Titanic, the unsinkable ship that met its tragic fate on April 15, 1912, after striking an iceberg in the North Atlantic. Over 1,500 people lost their lives that night. But what if I told you someone had described this disaster in chilling detail, 14 years before it even happened? In 1898, a little-known novelist named Morgan Robertson wrote a book called Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan, and the similarities between his fictional ship and the real Titanic are almost impossible to believe. In his book, the Titan was a massive luxury ocean liner. Just like the Titanic, it was considered unsinkable. It carried almost the same number of passengers. And just like the real disaster, the Titan also struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic in April and sank, with almost no survivors. But here's where it gets even creepier. The Titan and the Titanic weren't just similar in their fate. They were almost identical in their design. Both ships were nearly the same size. Both lacked enough lifeboats, and both sank in exactly the same way, breaking apart as they slipped beneath the freezing ocean. It's as if Robertson had seen a vision of the future. Some believe it was a pure coincidence. Others think something more mysterious was at play. But one thing is certain, his eerie prediction remains one of history's strangest unsolved mysteries. And if you thought this was unbelievable, wait until you hear what happened to 2 brothers, 1 year apart, under identical circumstances. Fate works in mysterious ways. Sometimes it gives people a second chance, but other times, it seems to trap them in a loop they can't escape. And for 2 brothers in Bermuda, fate wasn't just cruel, it was terrifyingly precise. In 1975, a man was riding his bicycle down a familiar road in Hamilton, Bermuda. He had taken this route countless times, but that day, something felt different. As he pedaled forward, a taxi came speeding down the street. The driver didn't see him in time. The impact was brutal. The man was thrown off his bike and died on the spot, a tragic accident. But the story doesn't end there. Exactly 1 year later, on the same date, his younger brother took the same bicycle out for a ride. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe he wanted to feel close to his brother. But as he reached the same street, disaster struck again. A taxi came speeding down the road, and before he could react, history repeated itself. He was hit, thrown to the ground, and died instantly, just like his brother. But the most disturbing part? It was the same taxi, the same driver, and even creepier, the same passenger was in the back seat. What are the odds? A 1 in a billion chance? A glitch in the universe? Some say it was just an eerie coincidence. Others believe it was destiny, one that neither brother could escape. But if you think fate only brings tragedy, wait until you hear about the man who saved not one but 2 lives in the most impossible way. Most people don't get a second chance at life. But what if fate had a guardian waiting for you? At the exact right moment, a man in Detroit didn't just save 1 life, he saved 2. And the way it happened feels almost too perfect to be real. It was the 1930s, a normal day in Detroit. People rushing about, lost in their routines. But above them, in a tall apartment building, a tragedy was about to unfold. A baby had wandered too close to an open window. No one noticed until it was too late. In the blink of an eye, the baby slipped and fell. The mother screamed, helpless, watching her child plummet toward the hard pavement below. But at that exact second, a man named Joseph Figlock was walking by. And just as the baby was about to hit the ground, it landed right in his arms. Against all odds, the child was completely unharmed. A 1 in a million save, right? But here's where it gets truly unbelievable. A year later, another baby, from the same building, fell out of a window. And guess who just happened to be walking below? Joseph Figlock. Again, the exact same scenario played out. And once again, the baby landed right in his arms. Both survived. Both had an impossible second chance. But was it just luck, or was something else guiding him, making sure he was in the right place at the right time? Sometimes fate is cruel, but sometimes it sends a guardian when you least expect it. So, what do you think? Were these just eerie coincidences? Or is there something more, something beyond logic that we can't explain? Let me know in the comments. And if these stories gave you chills, just wait. We have even darker, more unbelievable coincidences coming up. But you'll only see them if you're subscribed. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us as we uncover the strangest mysteries the world has ever seen. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.